And we've had a commitment from the Government of Canada all the way to the Prime Minister, who sat in my office and told me that there'd be more to come. We have the federal government taking some responsibility to help us with the immediate problem we had with regard to the dormitories and the refugees and claimants who were there. And we have the establishment, that's why I just mentioned it a moment ago, I think extremely importantly, of this triage center and the cooperation of other cities to make sure that people could actually be directed to places where there is a job and where there is housing, as opposed to them all coming to Toronto for the obvious reasons. I mean, Toronto's seen as a big city with lots of opportunity, all of which is true, but we were finding ourselves under great stress with respect to the housing question. And so I think this is an important step forward, but it's by no means, neither of us presented it today as the ultimate solution to the entire challenge. It's an important step forward, and it does show when you work together with the other municipalities, with the two governments, how much we can achieve to address what was a very acute problem and still is a challenge in front of us, but it's one today that we're working towards resolving.
Asylum in this country are treated according to the rule of law. That's also our responsibility. And so I believe that it is important that we address many of the misconceptions and misinformation that Canadians have heard that quite frankly causes a fear not based on the reality, but a fear on the rhetoric. And so the facts, the truth is important, and it is my responsibility to be able to reassure Canadians that we are dealing with this in a responsible way, in a cost-efficient way, that we are making the investments that are necessary to ensure that it's addressed in an appropriate and timely fashion, and that we're working with the other orders of government to address the impacts, and hopefully today, certainly Torontonians, I hope, are reassured that the federal government is working with their mayor, working with their city officials to address the impact that this is having on their city.
One of the great encouragements they can take in all of this is that there are communities in Ontario, including Chatham-Kent, including Northern Ontario communities, but many others, who have jobs that are unfilled, who have housing that goes with those jobs, and who want people to come to their town. The Mayor of Chatham showed up in Ottawa at the Immigration Committee to say, I'm putting my hand up, we want some of those people to come. And so the establishment of a centre where when they enter the province of Ontario, there's a sit down with them to say, well, by the way, the best place you can go with your family to find a job and some housing is going to be this community as opposed to Toronto, I think is going to help a lot. And I think it's going to sort of direct people to where they are actually wanted for the purposes of employment and where there is housing available, and it's going to just relieve some of the pressure because everybody naturally comes to Toronto because it's a big place and people think there's lots of housing and lots of jobs, and there is lots of jobs here, but I just think it's going to be very helpful to have a place where they're told where the real opportunities lie with actual unfilled jobs and housing in other parts of Ontario.